We're all about stories here and sharing our family story and where we came from. So, yeah, I've been working here a long time. When I think back on it, it's amazing. My name's Greg Silks. I'm the general manager of American Mussel Harvesters. We're a family-owned and operated shellfish farming and processing operation located in North Kingstown, Rhode Island. So my father started the company in the 1980s. He had worked in the shellfish industry previously, trying to farm mussels here in Narragansett Bay. Yeah, so I started coming to American Mussel probably around 12 years old. My father would bring me down here one morning a week during the summer, and I'd make boxes. The traditional model for selling shellfish was you harvest it and you put it into mechanical refrigeration. The end user would typically consume the shellfish, maybe a week to 10 days, sometimes even up to 2 weeks after the shellfish initially came out of the seawater. When I was in high school, we actually traveled up to Canada and we traveled to Holland, which is one of the biggest producers of mussels in the world, and we saw how they did things over there. And he took different ideas from going to Europe and going to Canada and basically designed a seawater system that could be inside of a facility where you can store product in water and take it out of the water the day you're shipping it to the customers. Shellfish are also filter feeders, so they're trying to filter food out of the water. So they're basically purging their guts of sand and grit and bacteria. So when you eat the shellfish, it's not only fresh, but it's nice and clean inside.
I've been here for 6, going on 7 years. Everything is grown on what you would call a long line system. So essentially we have screw anchors with about 800 to 1,000 feet of line between the two of them. And those lines are suspended up to the surface. I've read somewhere that the average oyster is handled in between 10 and 15 times before it goes from a farm to the plate at a restaurant.
Farming, you're always experimenting with different ways to make it better. That's farming to us. Actually, one of the projects we're working on is, instead of using fresh water for our processing, we have a permit from DEM that's going to allow us to use water from Narragansett Bay for our processing, and then we're going to clean it up and put it back to the bay. In this way, we're returning the water to the bay cleaner than it was when it came into us, but we're also not using thousands of gallons a day of fresh water, which we know how important fresh water is. Farmland is running out. We're overpopulating this world, and we're going to need places to have food sources. And we think that if we turn to the ocean, and we can provide sustainable proteins for the next generation and generations after that. And that's what we're doing. So it's a process, but we're going to stick to it. Where we live, we're just so lucky. It provides a livelihood for my family, but it also provides recreation. I grew up swimming in the bay. I grew up fishing in the bay, and I can't wait to take my kid to do that. Organizations like Save the Bay keep areas like Narragansett Bay available to us and our future generations. If they didn't go through the hard work that they did to keep the bay clean, we might not be able to swim in it. We definitely wouldn't be able to eat food out of it, so organizations like Save the Bay are very important. We branded a Save the Bay oyster, and every bag of oysters that we sell under the Save the Bay name, we give a certain amount of profit back to Save the Bay, just because we feel how important what they do is for not only everybody in Rhode Island, for helping our business out. And, we put over 2 million oysters into the market from Narragansett Bay last year, and we wouldn't have been able to do that without the help from Save the Bay. Taste of the Bay is a good venue to showcase the different products that come directly from Narragansett Bay or promote the bounty of what Narragansett Bay can bring to you. It's such a really unique business to be in, and it's different every day, and there's always a challenge, but when you meet the challenge, it's so rewarding. keeping these natural resources open and available to everybody, not just shellfish farmers or clam fishermen, but to recreational boaters and people who like diving, you know. So when you're out on the weekend on Narragansett Bay, you see all these different folks out there, and it brings a smile to my face. It's awesome.